So we're going to look at this problem, parabolas, and we're going to look at its, how it curves. If it opens up, see how if it opens up, it creates a bottom part of the graph, which is called a minimum. And we also have where it opens down. So if it opens down, like this one I'm circling in blue, we have what's called a maximum. So what we're going to do is figure out these maximums and minimums. And so this is determined by looking at the first term of our quadratic. So if we look at our first term right here, it's a negative. So negative means it's going to open down. So think of as n with a negative number. And so it opens down. So if it opens down, it has a maximum. Now what we want to do next is figure out this maximum. And so the first thing we have to do is find the x. So the x is always a negative b over 2a. So if we substitute the negative b over 2a, it's a negative 12 over 2 times negative 4, which when you do the math will end up as 1.5. Once you find the 1.5, we're going to substitute back into the equation, or the function. And so if I substitute 1.5 squared plus 12 times 1.5 plus 18, I'm going to end up with 27. And that's just a calculator problem. So 27 is the maximum. So the answer to this is 27. And we're going to use that then to determine our domain and range. And the domain for all parabolas is all real numbers. But what we want to answer really is the range. And the range is the y value. So I'm just going to put a y right here. The y value is how much does it go down and up? Well, it only goes up to the maximum point. So f of x has to be less than or equal to that 27 maximum value. So all the y values have to be less than that 27. All right, let's do another problem similar to that first one. We wanted to determine a maximum and minimum of this function. Well, we're looking at the first term. It happens to be positive. Since it's positive, it's going to open up. Since it's opening up, it's going to have a minimum. Now to find that value, we're going to do our x equals negative b over 2a. And in this case, we'll end up with negative 24 and over 2 times 4, which will end up as a positive 3. And then if we substitute that back into the equation, 3 squared minus 24 times 3 plus 11, we're going to end up with a negative 25, which makes sense because we have a minimum. So our minimum value is a negative 25. So what we need to do now is figure out the domain, which I already said parabolas is all real numbers. That means the x values can be any x value, but the range can only go to that minimum. So this time the f of x is going to be bigger than negative 25 because all numbers can go above. So if you look at our minimum, all numbers on the y, look up here on the red, all numbers can go down to that number, but everything else is bigger on the y chart.